Hey everybody, Mr. T back. As you can see, I'm outside today. This is the lesson for Wednesday, April 1st, which is actually April Fool's Day. But we won't be playing any jokes today because we're all at home working. So, today we're going to talk about, and I kind of told you about this yesterday, I think, we're going to talk about the feeling of fear today. And it's kind of relevant to kind of what's going on, I think, with us being home from school and the reason we're home from school. So we'll be talking about that a little bit today. I just wanted to start by saying we all have fears and we're afraid of things. And I was thinking about it today as I was sitting out here and as my dogs walked by, and I was thinking, when I was little in elementary school, your age, I was afraid of dogs. And the reason I was afraid of dogs is because once when I was younger, a bigger dog came and I started running and it actually ran after me and I thought he was trying to get me when actually he was just trying to play with me. But that made me afraid of dogs for quite a while until I got used to them again. And obviously now I'm not afraid of dogs anymore, which is also what we're going to talk about as we get older and things change. We have different fears because even as an adult, as a grown-up now, I still have fears about things. So right now, a lot of us, even me, and I'm sure your mom and dad are too, probably have a fear of the coronavirus or the COVID-19 that is going around and the reason that we're at home and not at school. And that's perfectly fine to be upset or afraid about that. But we want to make sure that even though it's something we're afraid of, it's something that doesn't control us, or like we talked about, worrying, take over all of our thoughts, and we're always afraid of it or concerned about it. And as we talk today, I'm just going to encourage you, because I won't have the opportunity to actually get to talk to you. I get to talk to you some of on the phone, but these are things that you can talk to your parents about. It's always good to talk to your mom and dad about things that you're afraid of or fears that you have, because they, I'm sure, have ways of helping you get through that too. So remember that as we're talking about these things today. Kind of like I said, everyone has fear. Everyone is afraid of something. Not everyone has the same fears. And like I said, as you get older, sometimes those things change, sometimes they stay the same. I'm still kind of sometimes afraid of the dark if I'm by myself. And for instance, I'm walking out in the woods and it's dark, it kind of freaks me out a little bit. So not as much as it used to, but everyone has different fears. For instance, maybe some of you have fears about school or your grades that you get at school, and that's something that concerns you a lot. I just said the dark. Maybe some of you are afraid of the dark. One of the things that I'm afraid of is that my kids are always safe, my own kids, and I'm sure your parents have that fear also. But like I was going to tell you through this lesson, is those are things that we can be afraid of, but we don't want them to control us or manage all of our thoughts all the time. There are some times that it's good to be afraid. For instance, if I'm driving 100 miles an hour in my car, I'm afraid for my safety, and it doesn't feel safe, so it's not something that I do. And in that way, fear or being afraid can alert us, or it's I don't want to say a safe thing, but it helps us be alert to things and be more careful, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It keeps us safe if we're afraid of things like that. The fear of catching the coronavirus, which is what we're going through right now, is a good fear to have because it keeps us safe. It keeps us in our house like we're supposed to be doing and not out and about and getting other people sick. But we want to remember that being in our house is a positive action we're taking to get over that fear and to get this taken care of. All right. And then the biggest thing, that I have been saying, is we just have to make sure that our fear doesn't manage us, and that means control us or keeping us thinking about it all the time, because then we'll worry about it. Okay, and then it'll just make us feel icky inside if we're always being afraid. All right. So like we said, it's good to be afraid of things and have fear of those things, but what we're going to try to get into next, and I want you to be talking to your parents about this, is how can we manage that? What are positive actions that we can do to manage our fear and get through and get over some of our fears, or at least get through them and make them not such a big deal? Okay? I took notes, so I'm turning my page here. Now, like we've talked about, all of our fears are different. We have different ones. For instance, one of the ones I brought up, these are just some examples now that we would be talking about if we were at school, is doing poorly in school. So that's a fear you might be having. So what I want you to be thinking about are, I have my fears, like if I don't do well in school, what's a positive action? We talk about those all the time. What's something I can do to make it so that's not such a big fear? So this is just an example, doing poorly in school, if that's your fear. A positive action might be do all your homework assignments, okay, and then study for things you need to study for. And just doing those things are 2 positive actions that you can do that hopefully will help you kind of get over that fear of doing poorly in school. Another one might be you might have fear of, for instance, flying on an airplane, or riding a bike. And again, those things, the flying on an airplane one is a little bit different, but if you face those fears and you have someone to do it with, like your parents or a friend, then it makes it a little bit easier to be able to do those things. Riding a bike, if you practice riding your bike with your mom or your dad or older brother or sister, and you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you get confidence and you're able to do it, you'll be able to get over that fear. So what I want you to do today is, there is a worksheet with this lesson, and at the top of it I believe it says fear of, and it's the fear of worksheet. It's the first worksheet that you'll be doing at home. And what I want you to do, it looks, I have the same thing in this book that I'm looking at, but on one side it says fear of, and then on the other side it says positive action to manage that fear. And I just have, I believe, 3 on there that I want you to do. So on the fear of side, I want you to think of 3 different things that you have fear or you're afraid of. And I would like you to do this with your parents if you can, or older brother or sister, or who's ever there to help you. And then on the other side, I want you to think of what's a positive thing or a positive action I can choose to help me manage that fear or get through that fear. Now, you can do a picture if you would like. If you'd like to do a picture of you being afraid of something and then how you're going to manage it, you can use a picture, or you can use your words, or you can use both. So I'm leaving it wide open to however you want to do it, because I know we have a couple different, well, all the different grade levels working here. So my expectation and for you to do this is just either draw me a picture, 3 pictures of something you're afraid of, and then how you're going to manage that, or like I said, write it or do both. And if you're able to, and I know not everyone's not able to, you can take a picture of the worksheet when you're done, and either text it to me, Miss Rita or Miss Tina, or email it, or you can also put it on Seesaw if you have that option too. Okay? I hope you have a good time doing this with someone else at home. I think it's a really good lesson, especially kind of with what we're dealing with now, and it might bring up some other conversations about that too, which would be really good. All right? Well, I hope the weather stays like this, because it is beautiful out here today. And I hope you got outside and got to enjoy the weather a little bit. We've been outside kind of most of the day, taking the dogs for a walk in a little while. But other than that, have a great Wednesday, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.